So it make me to ask you the last question, which is a very important question. How, like, you do trainings on CIPPs and CIPT and CIPM, and yeah, everyone providing a training in 16 hours. Why you are so special? Why you offering 30 hours of training?
Okay.
What is different
Uh,
between your 30 hours of same training, which is given by other vendors in 16 hours? So what is special? And you do 4 hours training, not 8 hours. So why
okay.
why so social service in the same cause? I think they're less than that. So vendors who
Listen.
charging 10, we are charging 6, and in 6 you're giving a training in
Yeah.
30 hours. So what is special you covering in that particular 30 hours?
See, it's about being honest. The reason why I said honest is when I prepared for the course,
Hmm.
you cannot pursue this course in 16 hours. Okay, I'll
Hmm.
I'll be very brutally honest.
Hmm.
It's a complex legal subject,
Hmm.
and you need time to assimilate these concepts. Right?
Hmm.
When I say you need time, I can preach something, I can teach something, I can give you a lot of examples in the course, but I need to give you time to go back and read and come back to me with another tons of questions.
Hmm.
So this is a process of making you into that mindset
Hmm.
of how you should be prepared for the exam. My focus of any training session is not just to make you clear this exam, but
Hmm.
trying to make you as a data privacy professional
Excellent
ready
point.
to take up a job, right? So that's a focus area. And as I said, 16 hours definitely is not enough. You ask any of our candidates who have been successful, we have almost 100% success rate in our
Yeah, that,
training
yeah, I
programs.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. And that's because they actually need time, and they usually go back, have a lot of question. I share a lot of reading materials for them and come
Hmm.
back with, so there is a dedicated 15-20 minutes before the start of every session to ask questions from what we discussed in the previous sessions, right?
Hmm.
So that actually helps them to decipher all these complex topics and
Hmm.
how do they actually think like a data privacy professional who's
Hmm.
going to implement for their organization. So that is a very important difference. That's the reason we need those 32 hours, right? And also there's another reason. So we also take a focused exam strategy session, right? So that is in terms of, for example, if a person is not given any professional certifications before, right? So they need to get tuned to this exam certification models,
Hmm.
because the way the questions are structured, the way the question is gonna test the way you interpret the questions and how do you eliminate the answers, and there is a lot of nuances they need to pick up when they're going to appear for the exam, right?
Hmm.
So we also take a dedicated 4-hour exam strategy session
Wow.
in terms of how do they actually tackle these exam, and I give my personal experiences, how do you need to navigate these type of questions, and also I give them a lot of uh, resources, right?
Hmm.
What are the because the one important challenge that we see in the data privacy domain, if you take any ISACA certification, right, you get 1,000 questions minimum for practice, and that's the challenge. When we started with any IAPP certification, I used to get 25 questions when I started. That's all. 25 official set of
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
at least IAPP has gone up to 90 questions.
Hmm.
So what you need to practice is a very important question.
Hmm.
Never practice anything which is out in the public for free, because they have excellent stats of 60% wrong answers or 70%
True.
wrong answers, right?
Integrity matters.
So
Yeah.
integrity, absolutely, and that can corrupt your knowledge.
Hmm.
And that's the reason we also discuss what are the important practice which you need to do.
Hmm.
And we also do sort of help even post completion of the course. They
Hmm.
come back, discuss the questions, and we still continue the support. So this
That's great.
model is not just we are not just giving a training, but
Hmm.
it's a relationship.
Learning
We are
experience.
building. It's a learning experience, and we are building a sort of a community of data privacy professionals around them to
That's great.
groom them into that role. Yeah.
That's why I said, I know if you remember, I started a session with one statement is there are two type of people. One is basically speak more and do less. And second is basically do more and speak less. And you are basically part of that category. That, I personally feel, I personally like the way you deliver the training is taking the practical approach of every topic and all that. So we have one complaint from our people that, okay, you don't follow slides properly, and Slides is just always a benchmark, and you share your experience. What make you do that? Matlab, I know we have a PPTs and everything, so that point I want to discuss with you. You know how you basically manage that. You know, using slide as a benchmark and sharing your experience. What make you to go by that set parameter or
Yeah.
methodology?
Correct. So it's about the art of storytelling, right? So whenever you say anything from the official content, obviously people can see it, but what stitches that in their memory is that by giving an example for
Mm,
each and every requirement, if you
mm,
are able to demonstrate with an example, and that
mm,
obviously stay in your memory. That's the
mm,
way I learned when I prepared for CIPP or CIPM, is always have a sort of a story stitched, an example stitched with all the requirements. If
mm,
you have an example clearly demonstrated for any of these requirements,
mm,
that example will always be in your mind, right? And that example will always help you to recollect that particular topic, even in your exam or even post your exam when you're applying this on your job. So
mm,
that actually makes it more relevant for any candidates, right? So slides is obviously there. Just to help you to go through the curriculum, but
mm.
the examples and the practical way of demonstrating it, what makes a difference in Infosectrain.
That's a very good point, Jay. And I really like the way you have covered the content and team. If you want more podcasts like that, do let us know in a comment box on YouTube and LinkedIn, so we can basically disturb again Mr. J and bring him again in this particular session. So, do you have any last pointer, Jay, to share your viewpoint about data privacy before we wind up the session?
Sure, Prab. My last point is that so in every industry there is a sort of a golden period,
Mm,
right? In information security also there was a sort of a golden period, like maybe 7, 8 years ago. There was a lot of opportunity in information security, right?
mm,
So similarly, a sort of a golden period is there in terms of data privacy currently,
mm,
right? Not only just because of the DPTP bill,
mm,
this particular domain is going to open up for the next 10 to 15 years.
mm,
The reason is it's going to just get bigger and bigger in terms of specific roles getting developed. As I said, your data subject rights
mm,
management, breach management, and how do you handle your records of processing activity, right? All these things are going to develop into an even automation, right? So all
mm,
these are going to develop into different streamlines within
mm,
organization that will require a lot of people, right? And there is lot of scarcity in people because you see so many people in India are currently serving Middle East.
I
So
agree.
many people. I work in Middle East market for last 2 years, and I know a majority of the people are from India who are serving for the Middle East customers, right?
Mhm,
And that means there is a lot of scope for the people to jump in this domain. If you
mhm,
are start as a early mover, you're
mm.
gonna get a great opportunity for yourself to place in this market, and you can very well get your deserved positions as well
Position.
as your remunerations as well, right?
That's
So that's
great.
a great time for anyone to jump into the data privacy domain. That's my sort of thoughts I want to pass on for any aspirant.